Every #1 overall draft pick since 2000. Who was a bust, who was a success, and ultimately, where are they now? Some are making millions, others are still playing to this day, and one is in the NBA. To the year 2000.
The year's 2000, the #1 overall pick is nobody. The MLL did not start until 2001. Let's get into it. In 2001 was the first ever MLL draft. With the #1 overall pick, the Rochester Rattlers selected defenseman Ryan Mollet from Princeton. Ryan made history to be the first player selected in the first ever MLL draft. Also was the only defenseman selected #1 overall in 22 years. That just recently got broken. Stay tuned to see who that is. During his time at Princeton, he was considered to be the best defenseman in all of lacrosse, helping the Tigers win a national championship in 2001. In 2002, he was selected to be a part of the USA lacrosse team and won a world championship with them. And then in 2003, he was selected to be an MLL All-Star. Played professionally until 2007. After lacrosse, he got his MBA and joined BlackRock as a portfolio manager and senior research analyst. In the 2002 MLO draft, the Rochester Rattlers selected attackman/midfielder Josh Coffman from Syracuse. Coffman was actually a finalist for the first ever Teat award given out, but actually went to Doug Shanahan of Hofstra. Josh was able to reach the national championship all 4 years at Syracuse, but only won in 2000 and 2002. In 2003, he was named to the MLO All-Star team with 25 goals and 10 assists that season. He would go on to play for the Rochester Rattlers, New Jersey Pride, and Chicago Machine before playing his last game in 2006. Josh is currently a 6th grade social studies teacher at Lowville Academy and also is a varsity football coach. In the 2003 MLL draft, the Bridgeport Mirage selected midfielder Chris Rotelli from UVA. Chris led the Virginia Cavaliers to their 3rd NCAA title and won the Teat award his senior year. He was a co-captain for the short-lived San Francisco Dragons in the MLL. He was a 4-time MLL All-Star through his 7-year pro career. After retiring, he started Advanced Lacrosse, which is a West Coast-based lacrosse program and still serves as CEO to this day. Shout out to the fellow Italians. In the 2004 MLO draft, the Baltimore Bayhawks selected attackman Mikey Powell from Syracuse. An absolute legend, household name. The Mikey Powell legend lives on still to this day. As winning 2 Teat awards at Syracuse, only one of 2 players to ever do that. Other players on that list, stay tuned. Finishing with 307 career points, Powell also wore the legendary 22 jersey at Syracuse, which recently got retired and in the rafters in the legendary Syracuse Dome. Mikey got drafted in 2004, and you guys probably don't know this, but wanted to focus full-time as being a musician, but decided to play in the 05 season. During that 2005 season, he led the Baltimore Bayhawks to an MLL championship alongside Syracuse legend Gary Gait. In his 3-year career, he scored 72 goals and 53 assists. After retiring from lacrosse in 2008, he continued as a musician, recording over 6 albums, and is inspired by musicians like Bob Dylan to this day. Now, he currently works for Powell Lacrosse. Before we go to 2005, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, the Mitchell Pelkey Lacrosse Experience Camp. 10 hours of elite lacrosse coaching by the best in college lacrosse. Last year, we had coaches like Brendan O'Neill, Connor Schellenberger, Danny Moltz, Colin Creek, Owen Duffy, Andrew McAdory. Coaches will be announced soon. This summer, we're going to Baltimore, Maryland, Long Island, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Columbus, Ohio, and even Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Today, I'm giving away 1 free spot to you. More on that later. In the 2005 MLO draft, the New Jersey Pride selected midfielder Kyle Harrison from Johns Hopkins. An absolute stud in Baltimore, a legend for this sport who recently just got inducted into the Lacrosse Hall of Fame. During his time at Johns Hopkins, Kyle won a national championship in 2005 and became the first African-American player to win the Teat award.
We're still the only person to ever win the Teat award at Hopkins to this day.
Also, was a legit Fogo.
You didn't play at Fogo all 4 years.
Oh, well, no, so hold on. I didn't Fogo. Fogo means face off, get off. Your boy was out there. If I lost that draw, I played defense. If I won the draw, I'm getting to the bucket. So
Kyle would go on to be a star in professional lacrosse in the MLL and PLL. Harrison won an MLL championship with the Ohio Machine in 2017. K18 was a 9-time pro lacrosse all-star and wrapped up his career in 2021 with the California Redwoods. He currently serves as the Director of Player Relations and Diversity Inclusion for the PLL and has his hands in so many different buckets throughout the sport. If you haven't seen the video I made with Kyle, check it out here, an absolute legend. In the 2006 MLO draft, the Rochester Rattlers selected midfielder Joe Walters from Maryland. Joe Walters was a star at Maryland, becoming a 4-time All-American and had 32 hat tricks at Maryland and 3 games with over 6 goals. That doesn't happen. Joe was a pivotal player at Maryland to bring that university at the top of the lacrosse spectrum. Also, he played for Team USA in 2006 2006 while still being a student at Maryland. Only Brendan O'Neill and Ned Crotty have done the same. Insane. He finished his pro career as a 2-time MLL champion and 10-time All-Star. Hall of Fame in his future? I think so. Joe retired from the sport in March of 2022 and started Gold Rush Lacrosse. In the 2007 MLL draft, the Chicago Machine selected midfielder Pat Heim from Penn State. Pat Heim was an excellent midfielder for the Penn State Nittany Lions, finishing his career with 93 points and 3-time ECAC First Team All-American. In the MLL, he won a championship with the Boston Cannons and played his pro career from 2007 to 2013. Pat currently sells real estate in Pennsylvania. In the 2008 MLL draft, the Boston Cannons selected midfielder Paul Rabil from Johns Hopkins University. In my opinion, the best lacrosse player ever. What he's done on the field, what he's done off the field, I don't even think it's a debate. Paul is and will be the face of the sport for a long time. While at Hopkins, he won 2 national championships, but never won a Tewaaraton Award. Was he snubbed? As a pro, was a 10-time All-Star, 2-time pro champion, 3-time Offensive Player of the Year, 2-time MVP, and sits at the top of the leaderboard for career points in pro lacrosse with 657. I mean, is there anything else to say? Check out my video I did with Paul. I created the most expensive lacrosse stick in the world, and he signed it. Obviously now, he started the Premier Lacrosse League with his brother, Mike. In the 2009 MLL draft, the Chicago Machine selected attackman Kenny Nims from Syracuse. Kenny was electric, winning 2 championships for Syracuse in 2008 and 2009, which I don't know if you guys remember, but he is most known for this play in the 2009 championship over Cornell.
Ament with 8. Ament being hit in the side, beats the crease, open Nims, catches
During his rookie year in 2009, he was named MLL All-Star, but his pro career was short-lived and stopped playing in 2010. He wanted to focus on coaching lacrosse. He now works for a nonprofit called Thousand Islands Land Trust. In the 2010 MLL draft, the Chicago Machine selected attackman Ned Crotty from Duke. This guy was a highlight machine. I can remember going on YouTube back in the day and watching this low-quality, shifty attackman. I think this is one of the greatest, most underrated lacrosse players to ever play the sport. A guy you don't really hear too much about his name, but if you watch the highlights, they speak for itself. Had an unbelievable career at Duke and won a Tewaaraton Award in 2010. He was an instant hit in the MLL, winning Rookie of the Year with the Chicago Machine. He'd go on to continue to light it up in the pros with having 7 All-Star seasons. Crotty retired in April of 2022 and currently works for Lockton Companies. In the 2011 MLL draft, the Hamilton Nationals selected midfielder Kevin Crowley from Stony Brook. Stony Brook's very close to my Mitchell Pelkey Lacrosse Experience Long Island camp. Sign up before spots are sold out. This is the closest one to being. See you on the island. One of the greatest athletes to ever come out of Stony Brook University. He finished his college career with 232 points. Electric. He was selected by both the Hamilton Nationals in the MLL and the Philadelphia Wings in the NLL as the #1 overall pick, the first player to ever complete this task. He won MVP in 2013 and was a 4-time All-Star in field lacrosse. Kevin still plays NLL to this day and started Fusion Lacrosse. Guy's been playing pro lacrosse 13 years. This guy probably wakes up on an off day and feels his body crack every step. Shout out to Kevin, you're a legend. In the 2012 MLO draft, the Long Island Lizards selected attackman Rob Pannell from Cornell. Rob Pannell, an obvious legend within the sport, had an absolute career for the Big Red, but it was an absolute true test of adversity, and here's why. In 2012, as a senior, Pannell broke his foot and would miss the majority of the season. He was still drafted #1 overall by the Long Island Lizards, but he decided to take his 5th year at Cornell. In 2013, he won the Tewaaraton Award and then joined the Long Island Lizards. He joined a stacked Lizards squad that was coached by the legend Joe Spallina. He has been named MLL and PLL All-Star a whopping 9 times. Hall of Fame in his future? I think so. And obviously continues to play lacrosse to this day. At the age of 34, RP3 is still killing it. While playing, he works for Whitmore and Aquasure. With Pannell being born in New York, here's a fun fact for you. 12 out of 23 of these #1 overall draft picks were born in the state of New York. The Mecca. I'm gonna have to click pause right now and let you guys know something. If you want a girlfriend, if you want to be potentially good looking, if you want to potentially be better at the sport on the field, then shop MitchellPelkey.com. The frog merch is worldwide. We got frogs deadlifting. We have D1 players worldwide hitting an absolute
bing bang.
Shop frog merch before it's too late. We have frog hats, frog characters, frog stickers, frog beanies, frog sweatshirts. Shop it all at MitchellPelkey.com. Let's get back into it. In the 2013 MLO draft, draft, the Ohio Machine selected attackman Peter Baum from Colgate. Peter won the Toraton Award at Colgate in 2012, making him the first ever Colgate, Patriot League, and West Coast player to win this award. He was selected by the Ohio Machine, but chose to play in the LXM Pro Tour instead. More on that in a different video. He would eventually join the MLL and go on to be a 4-time All-Star. Peter graduated from UCLA Law School in 2020 and is now on the legal counsel for Red Bull. In the 2014 MLL draft, the Ohio Machine selected midfielder Tom Schreiber from Princeton. Tom Schreiber is the best in the world right now that continues to play, without a doubt. Tom currently sits at 5th all-time in points at Princeton with 200 and was a Toraton finalist in 2013. Since getting drafted, he's dominated the MLL, PLL, and NLL. Many believe Schreiber is the greatest midfielder of all time. 9-time All-Star and 3-time league MVP, and is still playing pro lacrosse. It's not a debate. Currently plays lacrosse full-time and is a part of the Utah Archers, Toronto Rock, and the USA team. In the 2015 MLL draft, the Florida launch selected Lyle Thompson from Albany, arguably one of the best players of all time. He and his family, without a doubt, changed this sport of lacrosse. An era of creativity and freedom we've never seen before. I can vividly remember watching the quarterfinals of Albany and Notre Dame and Matt Cavanaugh hitting the overtime game winner. Not gonna say I wanted Albany to win, but that game will forever be etched in my head. He currently sits second in all-time NCAA Division I men's lacrosse points with 400. That record recently got broken 2 years ago by Chris Gray with 401. Also, the second player ever to be drafted #1 overall in the MLL and NLL in the same year. Also, the first player ever to be ranked #1 in the nation coming out of high school and the #1 overall pick in the pro lacrosse draft. Check out my Where Are They Now? Every #1 recruit in the nation since 2000 video, a banger. In the PLL doc, Fate of a Sport, Paul Rabil described that Lyle Thompson was one of the main reasons the PLL merged with the MLL. He said the PLL needed Lyle Thompson. Lyle has had an amazing pro career, but in 2013, he took a sabbatical from field lacrosse to play for the Six Nations Chiefs and the Georgia Swarm. He said he'll be back to play with the Boston Cannons this 2024 season. Lyle currently still plays and co-founded Thompson Brothers Lacrosse, has done some ESPN analyst work, and currently lives on the Six Nations reservation. In the 2016 MLL draft, the Atlanta Blaze selected midfielder Myles Jones from Duke. He's the Bulldogs legend. Graduated from Duke as one of the best Duke Blue Devil midfielders of all time. This guy in college was a highlight reel. The sport of lacrosse has never seen a midfielder like this. A 3-time All-American and 2-time national champion, Myles Jones is a legend. Jones has played a pivotal role for his teams in the MLL and PLL. He's been a 5-time All-Star in pro lacrosse, currently plays for the New York Atlas, and is a real estate advisor for Compass, and owns Millis Grill food trucks. In the 2017 MLL draft, the Florida launch selected attackman Dylan Malloy from Brown. I remember vividly watching Dylan in the Final Four. During his senior season, he was struggling though with a foot injury. Might need to fact check me, but I'm pretty sure he got a shot in his foot to be able to play in that last Final Four game, but ultimately losing against Maryland. Also, that was Lars Tiffany's last year at Brown. Dylan finished top 10 all-time in career points and goals at Brown. Also in Dylan's last year, he won the Toraton Award. In 2018, Malloy posted a 41-point season with the Florida launch. He's a 2-time All-Star and currently is one of 5 #1 overall picks that play for the New York Atlas. Dylan currently still plays in the PLL for the Atlas and is an executive underwriter at Chubb. In the 2018 MLL draft, the Boston Cannons selected Fogo, Trevor Baptiste from Denver. Trevor is probably the best Fogo of all time. Would he tell you? Holding the career record of 1,158 face-off wins while at Denver. What? That's one of those records that potentially could never be broken again. Fun fact, Baptiste was actually committed to play D3 lacrosse at Franklin and Marshall. He then took a late recruiting visit to Denver and obviously flipped his decision. He's currently ranked #4 in the PLO's top 50 players and is an active member of the New York Atlas. He's won the PLO Face-Off Athlete of the Award in 2019, 21, 22, and 23. A member of the USA indoor and field team. He also kills it in the NLL with the San Diego Seals. Baptiste obviously plays lacrosse full-time in the PLL and NLL. In the 2019 first ever PLO draft, the Archers Lacrosse Club selected attackman Pat Spencer from Loyola. The coolest story on this whole list. The guy went from the best lacrosse player in college lacrosse to playing 1 year of college basketball to playing overseas and is now on the Golden State Warriors. Never been done before. Let's get into it. Pat Spencer is considered to be one of the biggest what-ifs in the sport of lacrosse. He holds the D1 record for assists with 231 and 4th all-time in D1 points at 380. He won the Teat Award his senior year at Loyola, and in that year, he finished with 11 points in 3 different games. Pat got drafted #1 overall by the Archers Lacrosse Club, but decided to take his last year of eligibility and play college basketball at Northwestern. After graduating from Northwestern, he played overseas, played in the G League, and recently signed a 2-way contract with the Golden State Warriors. Who said lacrosse players aren't athletes, son? A guy that I'm and the whole lacrosse community is rooting for. We hope this is a long stay for you, Pat, at the Golden State Warriors. It's been really sick to watch your career and definitely inspiring for me. In the 2019 MLO draft, the Ohio Machine selected Fogo Alex Woodall from Towson. In his final season at Towson, Alex won 227 faceoffs, putting him at a 74.2% rate. In 2019, he won Rookie of the Year in the MLL with the Ohio Machine. He recently retired from the sport of lacrosse and now started Tushy's Portable Toilets, a high-end portable toilet business. Pretty sick. In the 2020 PLL draft, the Archers Lacrosse Club selected attackman Grant Ament from Penn State. In Happy Valley, Grant had an unbelievable career, an absolute highlight reel. Seeing the combo of Grant and Mac O'Keefe was electric in college. One of those you just had to be their moments. Grant and Mac truly brought Penn State to be a top-tier team year in and year out. At Penn State, he was a Teat finalist in 2019, Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, Big Ten champ, then 31 assists and 13 goals in just 7 games, PLL All-Star and First Team All-Pro, and won PLL Attackman of the Year in 2021. Grant sits at number 31 of the PLL's top 50 players in the league. Grant is currently the CEO of a lacrosse training platform, the Players Academy, while obviously still playing full-time. In the 2020 MLL draft, the New York Lizards selected Fogo Ierlan from Denver. TD played for 3 different universities before turning pro: Albany, Yale, and Denver. I think he played his first 2 seasons at Albany, 2 more years at Yale, and then once Yale couldn't get that year to play, he took a semester at Denver, played, and that was his college career. Fun fact, TD was the last ever first overall pick in the MLL draft. Obviously, the PLL bought the MLL, and that was the end of the league. Finished his college career with a 75 faceoff winning percentage, dominated everywhere he went. TD is obviously still dominating in the Premier Lacrosse League to this day. Check out the doc I made with Denver men's lacrosse this past fall. The Pioneers are killing it. Pios to Philly? We'll see soon. TD obviously is still a full-time lacrosse player in the PLL and NLL. In the 2021 PLL draft, the Atlas Lacrosse Club selected attackman Jeff Teat from Cornell. Jeff Teat is one of the biggest highlight reel attackmen in all of lacrosse. As a freshman, he broke Rob Pannell's scoring record at Cornell, an early legend. As a sophomore and junior, Teat was unanimous first team All-Ivy selection and a Teat Award nominee. Teat currently sits 3rd all-time in points at Cornell with 268. In 2020, Teat was originally drafted by the Chaos but opted to return to Cornell for the 5th year. In 2021, he was drafted #1 overall by the Atlas in the PLL draft and #1 overall by the New York Riptide in the NLL draft. The 3rd player to ever do this in indoor and outdoor lacrosse. Teat currently sits at number 11 in the PLL's top 50 active players. One of the craziest stats in my opinion, but the 2nd player all time to be ranked #1 out of high school and the #1 overall draft pick in pro lacrosse. Again, if you want to see more on the high school rankings, check out my Where Are They Now video. Also, I made a legendary video with Teat. Great guy, check it out here if you haven't. Teat obviously still plays lacrosse full-time in the PLL and NLL. In the 2022 PLL draft, the Chrome Lacrosse Club, rest in peace, selected attackman Logan Wisnauskus from Maryland. An absolute unbelievable career at Maryland. I remember playing this guy throughout my whole career, and this guy's shot was electric. You know, with an attackman of my guy Danny Moltz, Jared Bernhardt, and Logan Wisnauskus, like nobody was beating Maryland. This guy's shot, you couldn't stop it. He was on repeat. I remember going to the national championship in 21 and 22, like you weren't stopping Wisnauskus. Obviously had an unbelievable career at Maryland, but it actually started at Syracuse. He redshirted at Syracuse and then obviously transferred to College Park. As a freshman, finished 2nd in scoring at Maryland. Sophomore scored 79 points in 2019, a program record for Maryland. His 5th year, he won the Teat Award with 61 goals and 42 assists and obviously topped it with a national championship over Cornell. All-time University of Maryland leader in points with 340. Currently sits at 4th all-time in NCAA career goals. After winning the national championship, he was drafted by the Chrome, rest in peace, which are now the Denver Outlaws. Is a 2-time PLL All-Star and is now a part of the coaching staff at High Point. And last on this list, in the 2023 PLL draft, the Atlas Lacrosse Club selected defenseman Gavin Adler, Cornell. This guy is elite. Let me tell you why. I played against him. They actually beat us in the 1st round of the NCAA tournament. Gavin stripped me, pretty sure once, maybe twice. And let me tell tell you what, he's an elite defenseman. I can tell you right now, Gavin Adler will be playing the sport of lacrosse for a long time. One of the best defensemen I've ever faced in my career. You know, a guy that's not the tallest, I think might even be shorter than me. I think maybe 5'8", 5'9", but a guy that's muscular, a guy that's laying lumber, and a guy that got drafted #1 overall as a defenseman. The last time that happened was 2001. Had an outstanding career at Cornell. Had a whopping 63 ground balls for the Big Red in his final season, was a Teat finalist, got drafted #1 overall, and was a PLL All-Star in his first year, and is a crucial part of the New York Atlas rebuild. Gavin currently still plays professionally while working a job at CAA, a top sports agency in the world. And the 2024 PLO draft happens soon, May 7th. Who do you think goes #1 overall? Is it Shelley? Is it O'Neill? Is it Kavanaugh? Is it Curse? Comment below.
Here's how to win a free spot at my Mitchell Pelkey Lacrosse Experience Camp this summer. Hit the link in the top of this description, enter your first and last name, your email, and your Instagram username. The winner will get emailed this Friday, March 22nd. You win, you pick the city you go to. Good luck.